Welcome back to Old Testament Stories Abridged. This is a special minisode as we cover a quick story of Sodom and Gomorrah before we get back into Abraham's life. To recap from last episode of Abraham's journey, we left off with three angelic men sent by God to visit Abraham and Sarah. They would then visit the both of them to continue to give the glorious message of God's promise of giving them a beloved son, by Sarah this time. They would then end up looking down towards the two cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. So here are the two towns of Sodom and Gomorrah, and our angelic men and Abraham looking over the cities. See, here the Lord will tell Abraham that he will go down to Sodom and Gomorrah to see their outcry because of their great sin. And here, God will also mention the city's destruction as a result of this. All right. Abraham will worry about the city's destruction, and he will intercede and advocate for the two towns, asking God if he will really destroy them. He'll ask if he would really destroy the righteous with the wicked. And he'll say, if he finds 50 righteous people, you surely won't destroy this place. God will respond, if I find 50 righteous people, then the people of Sodom and Gomorrah will be spared. Abraham will continue to intercede, saying, what if 45 people are found? And God will reply, I do not destroy them if I find 45 righteous people. Abraham will continue this by asking, what will happen if 40 people are found? God will continue to be a just God by saying he will spare all the towns for the sake of the 40. He asks God to not hold his anger against them, as he asks if the towns will be spared if 30 are found. God will continue to reply that he will not destroy the cities. Then Abraham's like, wait, hold up. What if 20 are found? And I admire God's infinite patience with Abraham here, asking literally almost the same exact question. However, God will say, for the sake of the 20, I will not destroy the towns. Now, Abraham is going to ask God to not hold any anger against him. Because now Abraham will ask if he will destroy Sodom and Gomorrah if 10 righteous people are found. Then God smites him because he kept asking the same question. Whoa, hold on, dude. Pause the video. What are you doing? You know God does not do that. You know what? Just go. Get out of here. Go water Malachi and the rest of the plants, man. Okay, fine. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what he was saying. What God really says is that for the sake of the 10 righteous, I would not destroy the towns. Not whatever my animator was saying. So now the men in the Bible, only 2 angelic men go down to Sodom and Gomorrah, but I have 3 here for the sake of consistency. But anyways, so now the men go down to Sodom, and they are greeted by our old friend Lot. Remember him? Yeah, Abraham's nephew? Yeah, that's him. That's the guy. Lot's also a real MVP, though, because he acknowledges that these men are from God, and he offers his house for them to stay in. Now, remember, all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah were wicked. Right? This is kind of why God was trying to destroy the whole place. And the people of Sodom saw the angelic men enter Lot's house. And all the men, big and small, gather around his house, trying to break in and to violate these men. Right? They swarm the house, trying to break in, essentially. Lot, being a real homie here, he's trying to be his best to keep the wicked men of Sodom out and to protect the angelic men. And he also offers up his 2 daughters, which is crazy, by the way, but the men of Sodom were not satisfied. So the angelic men took matters into their own hands, and they blinded the men of Sodom so they would let go of the door. Afterwards, when they've all left, they would tell Lot and his family to depart, as they were going to destroy these cities. Because in the end, only Lot's family was found as righteous. Lot's son-in-laws who were to marry his daughter, Lot's daughters, laughed at this, so they were left behind. Lot and the rest of his family, they headed to a little town called Zoar over the mountains. And the angelic men gave one simple direction. I'm going to say it again. The angelic men gave one simple direction. They gave them one clear, super simple direction, and it was to not look back at the cities as they were being destroyed, or else they would die. So they set out to Zoar, far away from Sodom and Gomorrah. So fire and brimstone is just basically sulfur, which can be found as rocks or crystals. Fire and brimstone will rain down on Sodom and Gomorrah, consuming both the towns, as only 4 people were found righteous, that being Lot's family. And remember that one clear and simple rule to not look back? Yeah, Lot's wife sold and looked back at the town's destruction. And you know what happened? She turned into a pillar of salt. Come on. And Lot and his daughters were heartbroken at this, because their mother fell into temptation. And it truly is a warning for us all to not look back at our old habits as we are trying to become better people and to move on from those sinful ways. We must continue to look forward towards God and not our past. So Lot will find a place for him and his daughters to rest after this tragic journey. And this is where they are now. After a while, Lot's daughters will then bear 2 sons, Moab on the left and Ammon on the right. And remember these names, because these names will be very important for later. But that is where we're going to leave off on today's special minisode of Old Testament Stories Abridged. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and stay tuned to see how God will fulfill his promise to Abraham. God bless.